In this video, we got another episode of this series where I rate and improve your guys' teams. You guys will send me your teams on Twitter at X7Tanaka. I'll put a tweet maybe every once a couple of days asking for teams, and then you guys reply to that tweet with your squad and how much MT you guys have, and you do have a chance to be featured in one of these videos. But if you guys also want to comment your team down below on the YouTube comment section, let me know your guys' squad right now and how much MT you guys have, and I'll try to go through as many comments as possible and give you guys my best suggestions to help improve your guys' team. But looking at the first squad here on the video is going to be from my man BMK Fish, and he's got 700,000 MT to work with and a really good squad to start off with. I would say for the rating out of 10, probably like a 9.5. You got Bull, Rick Smith, Artis Gilmore, Terry, Scotty, like a really good well-rounded team. I think off your bench, the only position you really need to upgrade is that backup shooting guard position. Even though I like OG and think he's a pretty good shooting guard, you need more offense off the bench. So what I would do is get Radiant T-Mac. He's now actually a buy now, especially on Xbox. I'm not 100% sure on PlayStation, but you can get Radiant T-Mac for 100k. You can start him over Terry Dishinger if you wanted to, and then bring Terry off the bench, or you could just have T-Mac coming off the bench next to Karl Malone and Ron Artest. So that would be my main upgrade. But if you also want to spend a lot of your 700k and you want to make a huge upgrade, then I would look more towards an invincible Kristaps, an invincible Shaq to potentially play that starting power forward position, and then bring Artis Gilmore off the bench. So if you wanted to make both those upgrades, I'd probably go invincible Shaq for starting power forward and then go Radiant T-Mac for backup shooting guard. But if you don't want to spend all your MT and you just want to, you want to make like one decent upgrade, I would say definitely get Radiant T-Mac to play that backup shooting guard position. But looking at the next squad here, coming in for my boy John Smith, he's got 200,000 MT and is looking for a point guard. Another pretty good squad. I'd say this team is like a 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Really good squad, like LeBron, KG, Jokic, Ralph Sampson. I think for me, I would actually look to get a better backup center, better backup small forward, and a better backup point guard. So what I would do personally is get Ron Artest for backup point guard, or you can start him and then have MJ off the bench, but you probably want to have a little bit more offense in that point guard role next to KG and LeBron. So I'd keep MJ in that starting point guard position, and then I'd bring Ron Artest as backup point guard next to Rudy Gay in the backcourt. And then for the bench, backup 3 and backup center, I would go ahead and just get Karl Malone, super cheap, only about 10,000 MT and one of the better small forwards in the game. And then for backup center, I would get Mark Eden and actually start Mark Eden over Ralph Sampson, and then have Ralph coming off the bench to play alongside D-Rob. So those would be my suggestions to help improve your squad, but all around still a pretty decent team. Looking at the next team here, coming in from Zeke, he's got 400,000 MT to work with. Another solid squad, I would say, like a 8.5 out of 10, very decent squad. I would say for you, really want to upgrade your backup center, I would go ahead and get Ralph Sampson. Cost you maybe about 60, 70, 80k, somewhere in that price range, and he can be your backup center. I like your two power forwards, Jack Sigma and Nikola Jokic. I think are great offensive power forwards. For small forward, I mean, if you wanted to make a bigger upgrade, I think a KG is a really good choice, a Jonathan Isaac, even a Josh Smith, I think are all better than Bob Nadalecki. I think Nadalecki is a great option at small forward. I'm just saying if you wanted to make an upgrade, KG is definitely a pretty good choice, and then I think you're pretty much good to go. I don't see really any other upgrades you can make. You got Scotty Barnes, Rudy Gay in your backcourt. Off the bench, I mean, you could maybe go Ron Artest potentially, or you can go like Luka Doncic if you want a little bit more offense. But I would say your main suggestion is just going to be get Ralph Sampson to play your backup center position. But looking at the next squad here, coming in from Skittle, he's got 150,000 MT to work with. He just got Big Z for bench to replace Kuzma, but open to selling if anybody can improve the team, or if anything can improve the team. So you got Big Z instead of Kuzma. What I would do is honestly put Big Z instead of Shane Battier and then have Kuzma's backup small forward. I think that makes your lineup already a lot better. For the rating out of 10, I'd probably give you like a 8.5 to 9. I mean, this is a really good squad, nothing too crazy, definitely not the best team in the game, but a really well-rounded squad. I'd probably go 9 out of 10. For your suggestions, I would say definitely a better backup point guard and a better backup center. So for that backup point guard position, Ron Artest, Scotty Barnes, Wes Unseld are 3 really good choices. You can decide who you want to go with. And then for backup center, I would get I would get Mark Eden. I do think he's a little bit better than Ralph Sampson. So for your squad, the only 2 main suggestions I can really see is get Ron Artest Wes Unseld, Scotty Barnes for backup point guard, and then get Mark Eden for backup center, and I think you're pretty much good to go. Looking at the next team here, coming in from, I think it's pronounced Inc, maybe, I don't know, he's got 200,000 MT to work with. Another decent squad, I would say maybe like a 8 out of 10. I would say it's a little bit worse than some of the other teams, but not bad, like probably an 8 out of 10. For your suggestions with 200k, I would get a better backup point guard and actually start him over Hedo Turkoglu. I would go Ron Artest and even look to get Scotty Barnes for your backup point guard to play over Hedo Turkoglu. So that would be my 2 point guards. I'll go Ron Artest starting, Scotty Barnes off the bench. For your 2 shooting guards, I think keep it nice and simple. Go Andrew Wiggins and DeMar DeRozan, 2 great shooting guards. Small forwards, I like Chet. You can definitely get Karl Malone or Josh Smith to play your backup small forward position. For your power forwards, I like Jokic, I like Jack Sigma. And then for your 2 centers, I would go Mark Eden and Ralph Sampson. And if you build that squad, I do think your team becomes a lot better. You'll get a lot better center, you know, defense and just size on your squad. And I think your point guards and shooting guards will be a lot better. But looking at the next team here, coming in from Jack, he's got roughly around 1.2 million MT, and he's looking for some suggestions. So 1.2 mil is a lot to work with. For your rating out of 10, another great squad. I would say easily a 9 out of 10. Could definitely see a 9.5 rating. For your suggestions, if you have 1.2, it really depends how much MT you want to spend, because if you want to spend tons of MT, you can definitely even go after like an endgame Kevin Durant, something like that. But just to make some mild but pretty improvements, like I would say some, you know, maybe lower, maybe not as expensive, but still some pretty big upgrades, I would look for a point guard like a Luka Doncic to play over Scotty Barnes or Hedo Turkoglu. I'd also look for Radiant T-Mac to play over Vince Carter, start him over Rudy Gay, and then have Rudy Gay off the bench. So what you could do is potentially go, you know, Scotty Barnes, T-Mac on the starting lineup, and then off the bench, you could go, let's say, Luka Doncic and Rudy Gay as your backcourt, something like that. For your 2 small forwards, I like Jonathan Isaac, I like Josh Smith, I like Jokic, I like Taco. Even though Marc Gasol plays more of like the power forward role next to Taco Fall, I still think getting a center like Ralph Sampson or getting a better power forward like a even Dark Matter 16-bit Kristaps, I think is a pretty big upgrade. So I would personally look for a better backup center, whether it's 16-bit Kristaps, whether it's a more expensive Invincible Kristaps or Invincible Shaq, or whether it's even Ralph Sampson. I think that'll help you with some size on the bench, just giving you a little bit more defense off that bench. But looking at the last team here, guys, coming in from, I think it's pronounced Paper, he's got about 400,000 MT. Another really good squad. Like I would say another 8.5 out of 10. Like you got Invincible Kobe, you got T-Mac, Chet, Marc Gasol. You got a really well-rounded squad. I would say for me, you can keep your point guards, especially if you like Kobe. Your shooting guards, I would go T-Mac, and then I would go like Andrew Wiggins as your backup shooting guard. For your backup small forward, I would go Karl Malone. I do think he's a lot better than Hero Kevin Durant. For your 2 power forwards, I like Marc Gasol. I would actually get 16-bit Kristaps to play your backup power forward position, or start him over Marc Gasol and then have Marc Gasol off the bench. And then for your 2 centers, I would once again go Mark Eden and Ralph Sampson. So your 10-man rotation could look something like this: Kobe, Ron Artest, T-Mac, and Andrew Wiggins, small forward Chet and Malone, power forwards Kristaps and Marc Gasol, and then centers Mark Eden and Ralph Sampson. And I do think your team becomes a whole lot better. But guys, let me know in the comment section down below, like I said at the start of the video, your guys' team, how much MT you guys have, and I'll try to go through as many comments as possible and give you guys my best suggestions. But hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.